I call the Public Safety and Public Works Committee meeting to order. First thing we have is the minutes. No meeting took place in November, so there's no minutes. Next, we have reports. Department of Public Safety, reports.
Yeah, so I have one thing. And then the ordinance stuff would be mine. The Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety, for the last 5 years, has hit fire training super, super hard. This book that I'm holding up is the new fire instructor textbook that's being used nationwide. And there's about 30 or 40 references to the city of Benton Harbor and Benton Harbor Public Safety in this book. So, Commissioner Isom says, expect great things all the time. And we always say on the public safety side, we're Benton Harbor. And this is a result of the Public Safety Department's hard work. So I'm very proud of this, that we're now on the national level. Clark and I both teach on the national level, but now you see it published and people are seeing us everywhere. So we are Benton Harbor.
Manuals out there for instructions on how to be the best
Yeah,
safety.
So this is
responder.
how to teach firefighters is what the manual is. So anybody that is a fire instructor has to use this book. So it doesn't matter if you're a fire instructor in Hawaii or Michigan or Indiana. And, the one thing I'll say is when we started this fire academy in 2021, we were told it would fail. We were told Benton Harbor can never do this. And here we are in a national textbook. So expect great things, sir.
Expect great things. That's what I'm talking about. Got our own manual, instruction book, Ben Harbor, for the country. Ain't that something? That's something. All right, Commissioner? All right. Anything else, Chief, public safety side, you want to say something about public safety? Yeah. Okay.
First thing I'd like to do is, after it seems like 100 million years, we finally got a replacement to our administrative assistant. So we were without a growing, wonderful assistant like Tiffany has. You are growing wonderful, I have to say that publicly. So we have city resident, actually lives over by you, actually. Her name is Abby Clan, not Abigail. Abby Clan, and she, again, who wants my born from Benton Harbor. Y'all remember the movie Imitation of Life? Yeah. It's a good movie. Huh? It's a good movie. So it covers both. We do. So, Abby, want to say something hi real quick to everybody? This is Commissioner Henry. That is Mr. Brownie, James Gunner. That's Commissioner Isom. You know those people over there. This is our gallery. And I don't know everybody's name. It's Duncan and Abby.
Nice to meet everybody. I'm really happy to be here. Honestly, I've been trying to get into this building for years, so thank you.
Welcome aboard, Abby, and glad to have you here. And I expect great things going to happen now that you're here. So more great things going to happen.
Thank you.
Thank you. With public safety.
Just to maybe give you a kind of preview, maybe next month. We really like to get like most of that meeting, present kind of some statistics. It's going to be published that our crime rate is down 24%. So we'll talk about that, some other things, and some plans moving forward we want to do in public safety. So actually I was going to go over this, but me pushing this button, talking at the same time, I'm not very coordinated nor smart. So, just very quickly, usually we let the report kind of be read. Is there a permanent thing on this? Finger. No. There we go. So, yeah. Last month, despite our crime being way down, just from last month, our vehicle burglaries, stolen vehicles down to one each. So we get the right people, get them locked up. had been pretty calm all year. And there was about a week where it kind of broke loose. So I want to speak generally about that because we know there was an incident that happened where some people were in town visiting, driving through Benton Harbor, and kind of got caught up in an issue. And I just want to explain, like, we don't always put a lot of information out, and here's why. These investigations are fluid, moving. They were linked from Benton Harbor to Benton Township, and kind of analogously, cases are linked by like a spider silk thread. And it's important for the investigators to be able to do what they do, our detectives, plus township detectives, plus the ATF, FBI, the task force. And if too much is out, it can harm an investigation. So in Benton Harbor, we know that because we haven't really heard a lot from Benton Harbor. There's been some Karens that have called from outside of Benton Harbor. But I want to be clear on this. We play the long game, meaning we want to get to the root of the issue. As you can see, again, i.e., we got our crime down 24% over the course of this year because we worked very diligently and vigorously to get in place what needs to happen as far as being able to bring people to justice. So one of the things that was unfortunately harmful to this is when they decided to go public and social media, the news, and honestly, that set us back probably about 2 weeks. So there is a reason, there's a method to the madness, as I say. I keep the people that need to know, but I don't want people to think that we ignore people because we get stopped all the time thanking us for the work we've done in the neighborhoods and the community. And other than this little crazy period, our incidents were way down as far as the non-fatal shootings, the you-know-whats, we don't say the word, for 2025. So I just want to put that out there just to be clear that it is still active. And again, we're trying to solve an issue on the long game and making sure that Benton Harbor, Benton Township are safe and not for clicks and sound bites. So some may agree with that, some may not. At the end of the day, it's my decision. That's how we operate. And we've seen the success because we had a meeting today with the state police investigative lieutenant, and our clearance rate on those felonious cases are like in the 90s. We can't be in the 90s if we're out here posting everything that we're doing. So I don't think any other agency, at least in Barron County, maybe the country, can boast a 90+% clearance rate on major felonies. So I give that transparency to why always there's not a press release. Plus, we respect the victims. Again, they chose to go out there, kind of put it out there, but everyone else are more grateful that we protect their identity as well as the information that might lead to the clearance of their case. And I'm open to take any questions on that. It's probably going to be a no comment, but I'm open.
So, we have public safety, we had amendment. Amendment to Chapter 11, Buildings and Building Regulations of the City of Benton Harbor Code of Ordinance.
So the Chapter 11 is the building code, basically, and what we found in there was some things that contradicted each other. So we were cleaning that up, some contradictions, just taking some language out. Our code adopts itself every 3 years when the new code is released. So it's basically just a cleanup, with the exception of one thing, is we now have a mechanical inspector on staff, and we would bring mechanical inspections back in the city, which brings revenue to the city. No matter what, the permit fees get paid. Right now, the state is getting that money. That money would come back to the city instead. So that person's already on staff. It's not an additional hire. We already have a contract with that individual. It's Dave Gongwer, our electrical inspector. He's a certified mechanical inspector. So all we need is to adopt it in the ordinance. We need to send this ordinance to the state, and they will release it to us, and then we'll start collecting those fees. So it's, it's money that, we're basically losing right now. It's being paid to somebody. We're just not getting it.
What kinds of things will be covered under mechanical inspection?
So mechanical would be HVAC units, basically, furnaces, that type of thing is the mechanical inside of things. So we would do building, mechanical, fire, zoning, all in code compliance, public safety piece. The only thing we don't have somebody for is plumbing. So that'd be the only one the state would be doing. The other piece to this is it becomes a better thing for our citizens. Right now, with the state, you're sometimes waiting 60, 90 days for mechanical inspection to be finalized, where he's here 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So the most you're going to wait is a couple days.
Thank you. Would that also include permitting? So covered under the same thing?
Yeah, correct. It would be just like doing an electrical or a building permit now, you pull the mechanical permit through the state, or through us instead of the state. It's the exact same permit. We're required to use their state fee schedule for this thing, so we would, it'd be just how we do electrical, state fee schedule. It's just it comes to us instead of going to the state.
So how are we doing with the permits? Have people, the residents or contractors been complying with, is people just doing what they want to do,
I don't have an exact number for you, but I can tell you this. I looked at some reports the other day. Our permit fee income is up, and the number of permits issued is up, and the number of stop work orders for non-permitted work is way down.
Commissioner Henry?
That's a pretty good report. We got a new employee. It's a contractor. He's under contract, he's not employed. I'm talking about the mechanical inspector.
He's already been our electrical inspector for the past 18 months or so. He's certified in mechanical inspection, so he would just do those for us.
Oh, so he's gonna do electrical and mechanical?
Correct.
Okay. Through the chair, would you ask the city manager to provide us with the contract that we can see what this contractor is required to do, how much they're getting paid, if they're paying income tax, whole lot of little things come out of that contract. So would you ask the city manager to make sure that we get that contract?
City manager, did you get all that? Did you get that information?
Yes, sir, we got that. We'll see that it's done.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Henry. He'll be giving it to the whole commission. How's that? Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Gunther? You said? What you say? Public Safety Chief.
Just real quickly, I just want to just kind of remind people that maybe wasn't around way back then. This was part of a vision that actually goes back to you when we looked at that point, inspections, and we wanted to revamp it and become self-sufficient. The first thing was when we changed the name Code Compliance, because we wanted compliance, not so much penalty. But this is just one of many moves that we've tried to make Benton Harbor self-sufficient, to be able to stand on our own feet. For those that's been around for a while, remind you that for years, the police department was under different leadership, state police 4 times, different people that came through. We didn't have much organization in our inspections department. We didn't have the things that we have in place now for our citizens. You have to call the state and get on the huge wait list just to get an electrical or a mechanical inspection. So, we've moved to a point where we had the vision to do it back then, and now we just want to continue to get better. So I think kudos to the city of Benton Harbor in several aspects where we can stand on our own, because We Are Benton Harbor.
Thank you, Chief. Commissioner? You good?
No, thank you, Chair.
All right,
Chair.
we'll move that forward. We have a resolution to permit the sale of alcoholic beverages before noon on Sunday in the city of Benton Harbor. All right, so we want to have a little drink on Sunday before noon. It's a resolution. So this is just for bars and the restaurants in the city.
Basically, it is for establishments that serve food on Sunday. Many of our neighboring communities already allow this. Mentioned several times, I often play golf down at Bridgman, and the golf course there has a breakfast brunch, and they sell mimosas and so forth, and people go to it. And a lot of people, especially visitors coming out of Chicago and so forth, they're used to that and they expect that. This will, in essence, for us, it will still prevent the sale by packaged liquor stores, the service stations and whatnot. It'll only be for establishments that serve breakfast and wish to also serve these drinks on Sunday mornings.
It's where you'll sit down and eat, not buy a six-piece wing dinner out of a convenience store and buy you. It's nothing like that.
Exactly right, and they can't carry them out in the streets or anything like that. Somebody raised the question about the zone. This does not apply to that.
City Rep,
So to be clear, right now, it is illegal to sell package or pour on Sunday before noon.
That's correct.
Does this also open enforcement action for, because I've never heard of this. I didn't know it was a thing.
There would certainly be enforcement action if there were violations of it. But we don't anticipate that that would be the case because, as I said, many of the people who go to restaurants in the area, they're familiar with it and they know how it works.
No, I mean for a package, because I've
The
never known it.
Same enforcement action that's there now would
Okay.
still be there, yes.
not buy liquor until 12, right?
That's correct.
Almost around game time.
Well, you always buy yours on Saturday.
Thing, you know, because
It'll make us more competitive
With surrounding communities.
economically because they don't have to go somewhere else to do that. They can sit here in Benton Harbor and have breakfast and have a mimosa or a Bloody Mary and enjoy themselves.
and there's no change to get their license. The license. This just goes, the ordinance will be in effect.
In fact, and I might add, this is going to be subject to final word from the Liquor Control Commission. Our attorney has already contacted them and gotten the okay from the lower levels, and they're waiting on a confirmation from above. So, yes.
Commissioner Henry, you got anything about Sunday drinking? No. Oh, clerk?
I just also want to add that the businesses that want to participate in this do have to apply with the Liquor Control Commission.
Consensus to move this forward, Rep? Consensus to move that forward. Next, we have the Department of Public Works.
Yeah, Madam Chairman, if I could, before we leave there, one other area in the public safety end of things, we, and I will be continually raising the issue of some of the problems that we're having on the streets of Benton Harbor that don't fall in the category of the larger crimes, but the dumping on vacant lots, the dumping in alleys. As most of you are aware, we're in the midst of a cleanup in the Ox Creek corridor area. There's a contract out there cleaning up, getting all the old refrigerators and stoves and stuff that have been thrown down the hill there toward the creek and so forth over the years. In the midst of doing this cleanup, we actually have people backing up to the ravine and dumping. And we're getting pictures and stuff of these people, and I'll be getting those and getting with the police department and with the city attorney, and we're going after some of these people. We've got to put a stop to this thing. It's very costly. As a matter of fact, I was on a meeting this afternoon where the discussion part of it went to where the people we paid to clean up an area have already done it, and then when they come back, there's couches and refrigerators and junk right where they've already cleaned up. They won't clean it up again for free. We've got to pay for it. And we've just got to put a stop to it. And the best way to do it is going to be to get some of these people and make an example of them, and that's exactly what I intend to do. Another item also related, Public Works is doing the best it can to try and keep up with and handle snowfalls, the ice and whatnot. And everybody knows we have limited manpower and equipment, but they're doing a great job of doing it. But people have to understand when the temperature's 12 degrees and it's snowing like mad, we don't need trucks out there running there. We need to wait until it subsides and stops to get out there and do it. This past week, somebody made an issue, and I understand had something on Facebook that the manager was concerned about overtime, and they're right. I am concerned about overtime. We want to try and do what we can do to keep the streets safe and to try and clear them as much as we can. But we got a lot of winter left, and we have limited funds for being able to do what all it is we do. I would hate to see us get halfway through the winter and suddenly we don't have the resources to continue dealing with what comes up. But we need people's cooperation on moving these cars out of the way so that they can go down the street and clear. We've had some discussions with some of the businesses in downtown where people who rent apartments above and don't have parking spaces are parked right in front of some of the businesses and don't move the cars. We can't clear the snow out if they don't move the cars. So we're going to have to work on establishing snow routes, and when we announce those, people are going to have to move those vehicles so that we can clean out these areas for their benefit as well as that of our businesses that we're trying to help stay in business and promote. So we need the public to get involved and to be helpful with this.
Thank you, City Manager, for bringing that up. Maybe we can get with communications. We can get the communication out there to the people. I know we're gonna have some snow tonight, some next couple of days, and it hinders the snow plows. I didn't watch them go down the street, and they got to go around. Then the snow piles up, it throws everything off. So maybe we can get the word out. Facebook or communication committee can come up with something. Chair. Thank you. Department of Public Works, MDOT project update, Fair and M139. It's a major project.
Just real quick, I'll introduce Mr. John Smith, and he's been working with the city and city staff on moving the M139 project, Fair Avenue project forward. We asked him to come here and do a quick little update on what to expect as things are gonna get moving next year. So we've been talking about detour routes through Pipestone, and I asked Mr. John Smith to come here and give you guys all a preview of what to expect.
Yeah, so I think the last time I was here was probably back in 2023. this whole project started back in 2019, I think, looking at initial stuff. We'd worked with I think the city a little bit at that point in time, just high level, and then really in '23 is when we kind of picked up looking more into things, how this project was going to kind of take shape, what we were going to do. It's a generational project that we're coming through here. I mean, the last time M139 was worked on was, substantially was probably back in like the 70s. That concrete's really old. It's come to the end of the life. Here's the chance where we're gonna take care of this. And then along with that, working with Jason and, city manager Little as well, to kind of make sure other improvements were involved. So, overall, just high level, I mean, this is a project as a whole, but, we're gonna be working on M139 from basically the asphalt concrete pavement change south of I-94 up to I-94 BL. A little bit different affixed types in there. I'll explain that in a few. And then also I-94 BL from Fair Avenue to Butternut Street. That was last worked on, I think, in the mid-2010s. So overall, we're talking 4.5 miles of work. We are targeting right now, again, last time I was here, it was all conceptual type stuff we were talking about. Really didn't have lines on paper as far as design. At this point in time, our design is now out there for contractors to start looking at. It just got advertised last Friday, I believe. So we'll be getting bids from them in early January. Estimated construction start is in April of 2026. There may be a little bit of work before that with some tree removals because of restrictions that we have for that. And then just high level for, Fair Avenue being the main route within the city limits there, that's kind of expected to start in August. I say expected because once a contractor gets on board, they're going to have different schedule that they may propose, and it's really going to be dictated on, how fast they can get certain things done. Overall, when we came to this project, I mean, we're kind of looking at improving many different things. The safety and operations out here, the pavement condition obviously was not in good shape. Drainage was bad in areas, municipal utilities, working with Jason, and, there's some very old utilities out there. And the city has been making improvements kind of on either side of M139 Fair Avenue, but kind of, taking care of everything underneath Fair there, as well as kind of looking at it's mainly cars going through here right now. There's some sidewalk. There's not, some sidewalk in certain areas, but not other areas. So really looking and seeing what makes sense for this area and kind of looking at all modes of transportation for both, non-motorized for people that are walking or biking, as well as any transit needs. So the big change that you are going to see, and we had worked through this all back in 2023, was the way that MLK and Fair Avenue are going to operate. Right now, it's the existing one-way pair. Northbound traffic is on MLK, southbound traffic is on Fair Avenue. So with this project, we're actually going to be separating those. Both of those are going to become two-way traffic. So right where they come together right now, it's now going to be split. Fair Avenue is going to come straight south into Empire Avenue, kind of where South Fair Avenue is right now. That's the way that Fair Avenue used to go. And then the things that we looked at with some different options, not knowing initially how Fair Avenue was going to look, we could have kept a single lane each direction with a turning lane throughout. But the ultimate layout that we landed with was single lane each direction with bike lane on either side. That kind of goes along with, the Main Street corridor, as well as I think even some of the non-motorized plan that the city has west of Fair Avenue. The one thing to note kind of along the lines of this is kind of, turning it back to kind of a city roadway, just the underlying real estate is still with the state. So that's the only thing, but that would then be the city's roadway to kind of fully operate and own and maintain there. So really looking at, again, that final plan that we ended up kind of landing on, reducing speeds, both of those roadways. We looked at it. We could have 400 years of traffic growth, and we are just then meeting capacity. It doesn't make sense with 3 lanes on each roadbed right now. So taking down to a single lane each direction will hopefully reduce speeds, because right now it's basically, it's 3 lanes. That's I-94. So, I mean, that shows how people are driving it. We're eliminating some of the conflict points at Fair Avenue, MLK Drive intersection. Sometimes people, whether they're under the influence or confused or just don't know the area, they may go, northbound on Fair Avenue. Those are the issues that we're having, that we can have sometimes. And again, that's now decreasing some of the potential for wrong way crashes as well, because if you don't know the area, you may take Britton Avenue across over to MLK and turn south on it. Well, that's all northbound traffic at that point. So it's getting rid of some of those, some of those confusion points that people aren't used to if they don't know that it's a one-way roadway. It also kind of allowed now with two-way traffic, expanded transit opportunities. Right now, if you're driving it, you got to go up MLK, turn around, come back down Fair Avenue. Does that make the most sense? Probably not. It's good. It was good when we expected a lot of cars to come through, but for being a community, it's not necessarily the best. So we removed those unnecessary travel lanes. We're turning Fair Avenue now more into making it feel, and even MLK, I would say, with some respect, making it feel more like a neighborhood roadway, not a trunk line for a state highway. And overall, it starts kind of helping do better connectivity throughout as well. It's also now going to kind of increase the business exposure and visibility. Instead of just having traffic go by that one business northbound, well, now you got traffic northbound and southbound, going by. So hopefully it helps with that as well. And then now both of them are direct links to Main Street, to I-94BL. So it helps out with that way as well. Oops, clicked too many times. The next big thing, and this was something that came about in those early discussions in 2023, was the intersection of M139 and Empire Avenue. You kind of come around, if you're heading northbound, you're kind of coming around a curve, or you're coming out of the one-way pair, and this intersection's right there. You got Intercare there. And we did a crash analysis. We saw there were some crashes. But is that telling the true picture? And then those early outreach that we had was kind of a stakeholder group. It was composed of, some city officials. We had public safety. We had others as well. And one of the things that public safety just overall had said was there's a lot of near miss incidents there, where those are things that aren't reported because there's not a crash, and there's not a crash report associated with it. So we started looking at it, and then started digging into it a little bit deeper. And yes, there has been a little bit of an issue going on there. And I know even since then, I think it was just last year, or maybe even earlier this year, there was an incident with a school bus and a first responder that was going through there. So we started looking at it roundabout. We have a couple of those here in Benton Harbor right now. It would provide, slow people down, eliminate some of the conflict points. So we have this in our project as well to kind of improve this intersection, taking it from a signalized intersection into a roundabout. And that will also help kind of with that connectivity aspect of, the traffic and splitting things out. So Fair Avenue, again, this is now kind of going to be the cross section here. As you'll see, single lane each direction with bike lanes on both sides. Fair Avenue is actually getting completely rebuilt. It's going down, taking all the poor material underneath out. We're doing sanitary sewer, water main, brand new storm sewer. So it's going to be a brand new roadway at the end of the day. And that kind of over on the right-hand side image there, that's again kind of showing, kind of currently how the alignment is, and then the two portions of there. What the orange part is going to be the rebuilt part, the small green part down there. That's the existing South Fair Avenue, and in coordination with Jason and Manager Little, that's going to get a single course asphalt resurfacing, so that way at the end of the day, everything's going to be nice and neat and tidy through there when it's all said and done. This is another kind of conceptualized drawing here that we had developed back in the day when we were looking at this with, again, this is right outside the bus apartments or the bus housing complex. Bike lanes on both sides, single lane each direction. Sidewalk through there, brand new sidewalk through the whole corridor. It's being impacted anyways with construction, but now we're providing, continuous connectivity throughout there. We also are going to have transit stops, one location on both sides of the road down near Britton Avenue, as well as a location on each side of the road right near the bus housing complex as well. The pavement's actually going to be getting narrower a little bit, which that's again something to try and help slow speeds through here. That wide open pavement is going to encourage people to want to drive faster, so kind of bringing it in a little bit will help. And then as well, crosswalks. There's really no identified crosswalks throughout right now, so now we're making sure that we're going to have good identified crosswalks, so hopefully people are crossing in appropriate locations where people can expect them. As well as, with the sidewalks and the crosswalks, everything's going to be brought up to compliance as far as, accessibility requirements, so that's going to be all updated there. Now, probably the big question everybody really cares about is how is this going to be as far as construction goes? So this project right now is proposed to be 2-year construction. The purple part here, this is a graphic we developed for our last public meeting in September. The purple part here is going to be 2026 road work. At first, we're going to be starting on MLK, the roundabout, and then also the Hancock and Eastman drain culverts. It's right where the split is right now. Both of those are going to get replaced with brand new culverts. So all that work's going to happen first, and as soon as that's open, we're actually going to be putting traffic onto MLK, and it's, you know, what is going to be the end of the project alignment while we're working on Fair Avenue. So, you know, so for that first phase that we're going to be having, working on MLK, that's where the detours that Jason alluded to are going to be kind of coming into play there. Second year, 2027, that's going to be basically from the south side of the Ox Creek Bridge, all the way down to north of Fairplain Drive, right around the Taco Bell, if you want a waypoint. That is all going to be mainline pavement work. We're also going to be chasing back on both legs of Napier Avenue. The concrete's there with partnering with the Berrien County Road Department to do that work for them, as well as Pipestone Avenue, same thing there. South of there in 2027, that red section, that's all going to be driveways and drainage work. No pavement work right now. We didn't have enough funds to kind of complete the pavement work there. That's going to be a subsequent project that we've programmed for 2029. But overall, for the whole entire corridor, we've really tried looking at an access management standpoint, because when you have driveways everywhere, you have more people that can be coming in and out. It's more things to try and expect. So overall, we looked at the whole corridor, what makes sense, how many driveways they have, and I think we're closing between 50 and 60 driveways, or consolidating some driveways to really try and help, you know, clean things up through here, since it hasn't been done in a while. So, and last slide is real easy. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
Oh, let's go. Well, you got a question?
Yes.
So bear with me, I know this isn't in the city, but there's a section of it that's like between Nickerson and Napier,
Yep.
where, I don't know the name of the road, but it's right where Wendy's, Pizza Hut, all of that is.
Yeah, Fairplain Drive.
Is that Skylight? Yep, that one. Is there any adjustment to how that goes? I'm just curious.
No, so that's all pretty much going to be going back the way that it is. We're going to be improving some turn lanes throughout, but nothing drastic. So yeah, that whole, basically from right at Pipestone all the way south the rest of the way, that's all going to still remain 5 lanes, you know, 2 lanes each direction with a center turn lane. That's good. That's basically what we figured that would work best long-term with the traffic volumes down there in that commercial area. So that'll be pretty much remaining in place. And through there, so like I said, Fair Avenue is getting completely rebuilt. A majority of it, there's other locations that are going to get rebuilt as well. But for the rest of it, we're kind of retaining the existing curb and gutter out there. And then we're going to be removing the concrete and then putting asphalt back. It's actually saving us a ton of money to be able to reuse that existing material underneath the concrete, which is in good shape. We've tested it. It makes sense to keep it. So just kind of, you know, removing that bad concrete and replace it with a brand new section of asphalt, and it'll be a whole heck of a lot better.
Thank you, Mr. Gunther. Yeah, I think the Fair Avenue project will be great. So I'm sure that the speed limit, I know it's 40 now.
Yes.
So there'll be residential slowing it down to 35 or something.
It's going to be posted 25.
Oh, 25, okay.
Yep, since it'll be a
great.
city roadway, that's what it's going to be posted at the end of the project.
That'll work good with the work we just done with High Street and Vineyard and all that. So that'll tie right into that, so.
Yep.
And bike lanes, the roundabout, how big is the roundabout? It's gonna be about big as the one we got right over here, or?
I think it'll be a little bit bigger than the ones in downtown here, maybe more similar to the Crystal Avenue
Kristen
one.
Avenue.
But, you know, trying to, you know, making sure that it's still going to work for trucks and everything. I mean, it'll work good. It's just going to be a single lane. It's not going to be any additional lanes than that, so.
Here's your project. Commissioner Henry, anything you wanna say on this project?
I just want to know who maintains the roundabout. Is it MDOT or the city of Benton Harbor?
It's not gonna be, no, be our road.
I beg your pardon?
It's not gonna be ours.
It's a major road.
Who's gonna make?
Maintains the roundabout.
Yeah, all the pavement will be ours. I think we're just planting a couple small trees in the interior of it with some rock, keeping it very low maintenance. We're basically mirroring what we have at Crystal Avenue right now. So that way, hopefully, it's not gonna be overgrown, we'll make sure that it's sprayed for any weeds, things along those lines. That roundabout will be lit, with lights on the outside of it, and that's something that we, kind of through the process of working with the city for some of the cost sharing agreements and different things for maintenance agreements as well, that would be kind of for the city there.
The Fair Avenue would run from Main Street all the way to, would it go by Campus Q and all that?
Correct, yep,
So-
right down to Empire Avenue. Yep. Yeah, if you look at it right now, if you're coming south on Fair Avenue, it looks like it should still go straight, and then it kind of bends off. So at one point in time, I mean, that's kind of the way that lined up, and
That little cutover will go away, that little,
yep, correct, yep.
all right, any more questions on,
Could you speak to the lighting planned along Fair Avenue when it's redone?
The lighting plan along Fair Avenue, that's basically gonna be AEP owned and operated, and however the billing works for the electrical costs for that. So that's the way that's gonna be. And then the only outside of that will be the roundabout itself, with the light poles. They're gonna be situated along the legs of that to kind of illuminate the roundabout there, so.
Glad to hear that, because we have problems with the lighting around our roundabouts here downtown now. A lot of people are having trouble, especially when they come up on them new.
Yeah, these should, I mean, they're gonna be the LED lights and everything. They're pretty darn bright and should be good to go.
I have a question here.
So you had mentioned the roundabout and part of the cost sharing being the city, but that's not in the city. That's in the township.
No, that's the township. My apologies. I misspoke. It's
Okay.
multiple different agencies here. Yes, that is the township that will be working on the maintenance and operation agreement there. So my apologies.
Mr. Henry?
Can you tell me what side of the street will the lights be on Fair Avenue? Was it on both sides or just on one side?
I cannot tell you. That's something that'll be designed by AEP when they have the lights out there. They may look at that after and see where the illumination goes. And a lot of times it seems like they alternate both sides, so that way they got a good spread of light throughout.
AMP, okay,
Yep.
thank you.
But if you have a bike lane on both sides of the street, you're gonna need lights on both sides of the street.
They usually stagger.
Excuse me?
They usually stagger, like a light here and across the street will be another light up a little bit, they kind of stagger. Usually so it's not blind.
Well,
but it's
good luck
bright.
with that.
Any more questions? Jason, you got something you want to add?
I was gonna say, if you, happen to drive down Colfax, the project that we just completed, those lights are staggered on each side, and they're kind of gapped, so you have, let's say you have two on one side, and then, let's say the midpoint would be the one where the other side is, and it kind of provides a nice spread evenly on the roadway, and I would expect the same thing to be done here, so you're gonna have lighting on both sides.
Or you guys are talking about the roadway, I was talking about the bike lane on both sides.
Oh, you're asking if bike lanes are gonna be on the MLK, section, Rebecca? Only on the city streets, only on Fair Avenue will be bike lanes. MLK will turn into the new business loop, or M139, I'm sorry, M139. And, it won't feel as residential as Fair Avenue. So there will not be bike lanes on that, it will only be coming through the Fair Avenue portion.
Correct.
Chief?
On the subject of bike lanes, I'm wondering, so I'm glad you made reference to Colfax. So the bizarrest thing I ever saw in my life was the bike lane on the inside between the car lane and turning, where it makes no sense to me why they would be there. are you going to have the same bizarre bike lane, not in the regular place that people are used to having bike lanes, or is it going to be in a regular spot? And it might be more of a question, I'm not sure for who, but it's very, very, very disconcerting to drivers.
On Colfax, you have the normal on-street bike lane, and then when you get to the turning movement, the bike lane stays straight.
Yep.
And then the turning movement, and that's a standard, that's pretty popular on there for bike lanes, even, it doesn't follow because if you ended up keeping it, let's say, on the right side of traffic, that bike would never really be able to turn left on anything, so, yes, you're right on Colfax, the bike lane goes through, and then your turning movement for the right crosses the line, that bike lane is dashed at that point. But I don't know exactly how NDOT has it for the connecting to the business loop.
Through here, I mean, it should be, I mean, it's gonna be on the outside the whole time. We're not gonna have anything that's going on the other side, because we're not providing any other turn lanes through there. On the business loop, so Main Street portion of it, there's one section that's kind of striped a little bit goofy. So we're actually gonna have that now be on the outside along the curb line as well, because I think we're actually have the bike lane shown kind of closer to the lane of traffic and not having a buffer, so now we're gonna have a small buffer between, you know, the main line traffic lane and the bike lane itself. So we should never have the incident that you had spoken of.
Okay, and just, I know Deputy Director Kaz has been involved in this project. For the point of clarity, as far as the citizens, there's also going to be new infrastructure, a new main under there for water, correct?
Yep, brand new water main.
Yeah, I got it. So it's going to greatly improve the issue they've had on the north side. So I think that's something the residents should know, because it's going to definitely help us to make them safer.
Correct, yes, and we've coordinated with Jason on the projects that have been ongoing to make sure we're connecting to everything that he's been working on, so.
Questions? Great presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Number 2, we have resolution authorizing the city manager to accept the Category B grant to resurf Superior Street between Emory and Empire.
Yeah, I can go through that real quick. This resolution is, several months ago, the city was awarded a grant, an MDOT grant, Category B funding. I think I may have mentioned it before, many months ago. It is a grant that provides road funding for projects, for essentially resurfacing projects. This grant here was for Superior Street. At the time, Superior Street was in bad shape. We were trying to tackle Superior Street with the income tax dollars, and the income tax dollars started being used for other items. So this grant allows, upon acceptance, allows the city to cover half of the project cost for resurfacing of Superior Street, and that is from Emory to Empire. So, pretty simple. The project is actually out for bid, design-wise and everything else. I think we just lost and forgot this step on getting it passed through resolution between the city, so that resolution can be passed to MDOT to basically secure the funds.
There's a matching grant too, right?
It is. So the match would come out of next year's local income tax. Instead of doing the project at 100% that we have done in the past for resurfacing projects, you get 50% of the costs. Same, very similar setup that was done on Jefferson a couple years ago, and also the Paw Paw Avenue project in the years past. So you get at least 50% of that cost. And I believe the resolution or the grant amount was, I believe, $350,000. And so that's a $175,000 grant from the state to cover the cost. the final bid numbers will dictate a little bit there, but it's a 50/50 grant from 175K for the city and 154 from the state of Michigan.
It's a lot of work, which is really needed. This will be start if, when the bids go out, start in the spring?
Yes, should be a quick hitter. I would come back to you guys after the bids have been received for the normal formal award. Right now, they're out, so contractors have been asking questions. I wouldn't expect that to be any more than a month-long project. A little bit of curb work, a little bit of ramp work, and then it is a mill and resurface operation from asphalt. Going to take 2 to 3 days, and then they'll come by and they'll adjust these structures and those concrete collars is what I call them, to get the manholes up to the new asphalt grade.
Sidewalk replacement as needed.
As needed. Mainly, if we ended up replacing all the sidewalk along that stretch there, it would cost way more than the grant was going to allow. So we're going to make sure that the ramps are ADA compliant.
Sure the residents will be communicated with what's going down, what's going on.
Yeah, and I probably will go ahead and, I know, not probably, I will, probably the first quarter of '26, come to you guys a couple different times with all the 2026 work that's gonna, we just got done with all the past work, and we'll have a few more spots. So, not as large as this year, but it will feel big after MDOT's presentation, because that whole side of the city will have a large project. But yes, I will come in front of you all to do the normal updates through the city clerk's office, the website, and also on any of the projects, we hand out door notices to let people know what to expect during that work.
Anything you gonna say about this project?
I just have a question about, and I understand you said $175,000 for the match of the city. Did I understand that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Is this project considered an emergency? Is this project considered urgency? What makes this project that?
It was a project that we were previously working on and bypassed it to come back. It doesn't have to be an emergency on the income tax because it's part of infrastructure, which is basically what the priority was for your income tax.
I don't quite remember it like that.
Basically,
I kind of remember that it was about what the citizens wanted with the sidewalks and the trees and the alleys, and we took over and said emergencies. And since then, how many times have we pulled out of money from general fund for this? So I'm just having a problem with using the citizens' money for projects like this. It's a match of $175,000.
respectfully, all of it is the citizens' money, general fund and all the rest of it, because it's public part of the city. But as I recall, the priority was on infrastructure, period, for the income tax. And it had a provision that said any other purpose deemed by the commission as an emergency. So this didn't have to be an emergency to do an infrastructure project, which this road is. Now, also another, and I made this point once before, at the time when it was being done for infrastructure, all of the street work and stuff is done now wasn't underway yet. It would have taken probably 50 years to raise the money through income tax to do this. Much of that infrastructure work that was planned for the income tax has now been completed. So it's serving its purpose.
Well, I'm gonna go back to some of the complaints that I'm getting about alleys and other things that the citizens thought that money was gonna go towards their issues on infrastructure, so that doesn't seem to be happening. That the citizens are satisfied with their projects. So I'm just bringing it to the bodies, the council's attention and staff that they don't seem to be, the money doesn't seem to have worked out for residents and their issues.
Respectfully, Commissioner, the alleys, I'm glad you mentioned them. 2 years ago, I rode up and down all the alleys with Jason looking at the work that had been done after we had put that material in them and so forth. They were all in great shape. But here again, the alleys, like the sidewalks and the curb area in front of the homes, that's the responsibility of the of the citizens to maintain. From the center line of the alley behind the house to the back of the curb in the front of the house is the responsibility of the property owner. Now, I've recently gone out there myself and just rode by and checked a bunch of the alleys. You can find some of the alleys that look just as good as when I rode down them 2 years ago now, with Jason looking at them after we had put that covering material on all of them. But others, filled with junk, weeds and trees growing out into the middle of them and whatnot. Some people are taking care of the alleys and some people aren't. But the ones who aren't and are just letting it go have no reason to expect that the city is going to just keep coming and doing the same thing over and over and over again. They've got to take care of them.
You're absolutely right. We have to educate them to let them know what their responsibilities are. But if you got no access to parking in the front of your house, and you're telling me that the responsibility of those alleyways are the residents. But in the past, we've supported the residents with fixing those alleys just because they don't have any other way to park to access their property other than the alley. So now, if we want to say it's the citizens' responsibility, I want to hear that loud and clear so we can put a change to that, because that's not quite fair.
Respectfully, and I'm not being argumentative, but it has always been the citizens' responsibility. I remember when I came here back in '84, and I mentioned this before, we used to pick up trash in the alleys. We were doing it twice a week back then. And people who had fences were required to have a door so they could get to their alley to maintain it, keep it clean, and to put their trash out. Yes, it appears there was a period of time when I guess the city had a little bit more money, and after we changed it to picking up in the front, people started letting it go, and we did a lot more that, again, wasn't the city's responsibility, but we did it. We don't have that money now. We don't have the ability to do it now. Same thing with the curb out in front. There are long periods there where apparently if somebody's tree died on the curb in front or a limb went down, the city ran out and took care of it. When it had the resources, we don't have those resources now. It is the responsibility of the property owner. People need to understand, if something happens and somebody is hurt by one of those limbs falling or whatever, It's their responsibility, and their insurance company will wind up involved. Same thing in the alley, because that's what the law has been. If you look at your code, it's going back to the 40s.
I understand that, but I also know that once we start practicing something and the people get used to it, that they're gonna expect us to continue to do it. And if we don't, we need to tell them why we're not doing it.
You're correct, and I've been doing that since at least the last 2.5 years.
Well, it didn't reach my third ward people because they're still calling me complaining about the alley. So, it's not working. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner, citizen rep.
Thank you. Question about the residents' responsibility to maintain the alley. Does that include like things like snow removal?
We don't,
We open the middle of the alley. We plow down the middle of the alley. Anything on the side of the alleys, it belongs to everybody homeowner. Okay. And that's just like when the trees grow out, everything behind there, you're supposed to cut behind your house. The middle of the alley, we open the alley before we can get through.
I mean, I know, I understand the city does it. I'm saying, is the resident responsible?
Yes.
For removal
yes,
in the alley?
to the center line of the alley.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, he takes care of that.
Mine was a distinction between, no, I understand he does it. I'm saying the distinction between, am I responsible for it, and does the city take care of it anyway?
And
Where it's
See what I mean?
you supposed to, behind your house, you're supposed to shovel or plow right in the middle of your alley back to your house. That's the responsibility of it.
Right.
But
And that's in your ordinances.
in the city's line, we come through and open the alley up, even though it might be some not plowed and some plowed, we just open it up for the fire trucks and the police department to get down in case it's an emergency.
Yeah.
The tree line, they cut down the tree on my tree line, it's not my property, but the tree is still laying out on the tree line in front of my house. I mean, it's been a couple of days, I understand how slow everybody are when it comes to work. But if it was me cutting the tree down on the tree line, it would be a problem. And who wants to cut a tree on the front of their house? See, we talking responsibility. It's just like that storm drain still making noise out in front of my house. Marsh said they were gonna fix it. They ain't fixed it yet. You hold the citizens responsible. Even for the cutting the grass, when the city properties are looking bad. When you guys gonna leave the citizens alone? You're spending our city income tax money, but we could be using it for things like that. And for, what was that paper we wanted to get put out, a newsletter, where the citizens could be more in the know of things faster, and we could talk amongst ourselves. Here we are, it's Christmas time. Why you wait till Christmas to start cutting trees down in front of people's houses? We had all summer. Somebody's not doing what they don't have the citizens' best interest in mind. If I could move that tree, I would move it. I'd probably push it out in the street.
Go ahead,
If I might, I
City
can
Manager.
assure you, they're going to come and pick up those.
When you guys get good and ready, I understand.
Well, it's a process that they're doing.
We got money to do this I understand your point, city manager. You just don't want to understand mine because you don't have that tree in front of your house. So, or the drain's still making a lot of noise after how long it's been for years, maybe, I haven't lost track of time, but I can still hear it all the time. Now I'm done, you guys keep doing what you're doing, I wanna see greater things. I don't wanna see that great y'all talking about, but we done did that. We did some great things, I wanna see greater things.
Right, we're gonna move that forward. Thank you. Okay. F number 3. Resolution authorizing city manager to execute a contract with Regro Construction for the Bobo Brazil Community Center Phase 2 renovations project.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. If you recall, not too long ago, you approved Phase 1, which is targeted to be completed toward the end of this month. Might be affected a little bit by the snow, but Phase 1 essentially took care of redoing the roof on the building and replacing windows in the front part of the building and some other stuff like problems with the walkways out front. In fact, one of, I believe, former Commissioner Mary Alice was raising some concerns here a couple of weeks ago about concrete in the bin. And that was basically concrete from them tearing up a portion of the side that had raised up where it was sitting like that, and they replaced it. And the same thing with the entryway going in to the storage area underneath. I believe it was about a ½ inch below the floor and a drain right in front of the door. And if you got any heavy rains or whatnot, gonna run into the building. They took that out, corrected that problem, replaced concrete there and so forth. So now they're ready for Phase 2, which will deal with some of the work on the doors and entranceway going in, putting in the bathrooms and whatever other corrections they can do on that first level there, as far as what we'll be able to accomplish with the money that we have. And that's what's being brought forward now, is to award the contract to Rogo Construction for doing Phase 2.
Okay. Is Phase 1 just about finished?
It's getting close to done. They were replacing some, stripping some part of the roofing off of a flat portion of it today, so they're still working, but it's going to be close. Maybe delayed a little with all the snow and so forth, but it'll be close.
The work that's been done on Phase 1, do Abermarsh go and inspect the work and go through it or walk through?
That's correct, and we're having meetings, I believe, weekly with a representative from CPM who has a general contract on it.
Commissioner Henry?
When we first got the award, the grant award for Bobo Brazil Center, we talked about the furnace. And I believe Marcy said she would look into alternative furnace, something more in line with environmental concerns. At one time, the Bobo Brazil Center had a innovative heating system called where the heat comes from the ground. Gmo, yeah, you got it. At one time, they had that in, and I think our engineers asked us to take it out and said it wasn't functioning. And so now we're at the place where we're gonna put a antiquated furnace in, because you got the heat pump, you got several other different things that are better than what we're been using for the last 3 or 4 decades. So I'm asking why are we not being innovative when, and why are we putting this antiquated stuff in?
The answer is we're not putting in any furnace at all. There's one already there that has been there since the last time. What we're doing now, it's been 10 years, I believe, since there was even a gas meter there. We're replacing the gas meter so that we can test the furnace and see how well it is functioning. But let me remind you, the initial plan on Bobo Brazil was to take that $17.5 million out of the community change grant and put solar collectors on the building and a storage battery that would help to cover a lot of the energy cost of that building, including operation of a planned resiliency center that was to go on the second floor, so that if one of these high rises went out or whatever, we'd have a place to take people to, and the between the solar and the storage, we'd be able to provide energy to take care of refrigeration, lights, and so and heating or cooling for a couple of days or so anyway, so that until the problem was corrected. You'll recall that grant was canceled by the present administration. Secondarily, we were also awarded a $3.3 million solar grant called Solar for All that we were going to use to do the same kind of thing with it. As a matter of fact, the original one, the CGI grant, was going to also provide solar for City Hall here and the water plant. But then we had Solar for All that was going to do for Bobo Brazil what we initially planned. Right at the point we got ready to get going, it got canceled. So all we're dealing with now is the $1 million grant that we had already gotten from the state and the half grant that we received. And we're doing as much as we can with what we're doing.
It's a long story. Back to my original thought about the furnace. Now, I don't know what happened. We put a furnace in. I can kind of go back in my memory that we did put one in, but I guarantee you it's antiquated. Everything that you look at online, people are going to a different phase. Just let me bring it to, they put in a gas hot water heater in my house. It takes more energy for that hot water heater than the one that I had in there. It's just crazy to give somebody something that is antiquated and not up to grade. We got to think ahead of ourselves. We just can't keep doing dumb stuff and think that it's supposed to turn out to be great. It's not going to be great if you're putting old stuff in our houses. If you're putting plastic in the walls and they don't hold, it doesn't work. And nobody does that except in a poor neighborhood. They don't do that. If they're going to put something up in St. Joe, they go underground. If they're in Ben Harbor, they go above ground. But this body is the one that has to stop that kind of action. We cannot keep letting stuff like that happen to ourselves. So now I'm hearing that we got to look at the gas meter in the Bobo Brazil Center, check out and see if the gas furnaces, I already know. If it was put in 10 years ago, it's antiquated. That's just the way it is. Technology moves on. But it don't move on if you're poor. They just come in and just give you junk. And I'm sick of it. I want us to stand up and say no. So, I know we wanted it to have solar, and that was a good thought, but that's not the case. Then I'll just ask that this money is coming out of a bid for a grant, so there's no out-of-pocket expense for the city of Benton Harbor. Am I correct?
Correct.
And is this HUD money?
No.
It is not HUD's money. Do we have any idea that we're going to utilize the 25% subcontractors position? I'm just gonna make sure that we keep paying attention, that we do have 25% subcontractors, resolution on, that's been approved. So every project that we look at, that will be a question. Are we getting our just desserts out of our resolution to support the people's employment? That's a question through you, Chair, if the 25%.
City manager, you want to speak on that?
No, there won't be any 25% on this particular work.
Through the chair, can you ask the city manager, could he explain to us why?
The bulk of the money is going to be in materials, and what work there is to be done, the contractor and subcontractor already have their crews that do that work. They're small, and they have to be able to know, how to do it. It's not just labor work.
Okay. Just something else we have to fix. So we can't just keep having carpetbaggers coming in, taking our money and not giving our people anything. So that's something that we need to look into and fix. Thank you, Chair.
If I might just offer a comment, I just sent this evening to all the commissioners a notice that was published by the Joint Sewage Board. They've got an open position that pays around $26 an hour. If you know somebody, take a look at that, and it
Yeah, I
has
saw
a
that.
description. If you know somebody you think is qualified, please let them know and send them, and that's a good opportunity for them.
One person, thank you. If it helps one, I'm happy.
The citizen rep.
Thank you, Chair. My question, sorry about that. So it says that this is for Phase 2 for the Bobo Brazil Center?
Yes.
How many phases are there, and what would be the scope for each additional phase?
At this point, there are only these two. Should money come available either by a release of one of those grants that we had before or new money, then we will go into additional work on both the first level and the second level.
Has there been any, future projects identified as this is what we would like to do in the future, or this is the vision we're going for the facility?
There has, as a matter of fact, that's what I mentioned a little earlier. When we had $17.5 million under that community change grant, we had mapped out an entire plan for doing what we wanted to do there. We were going to completely retrofit that first floor where it could be used as a gymnasium or other uses, because it already was a gymnasium. Somebody just stole the floor off of it that was there, but the wood is still there. We also had planned on reworking the second level, as I said, to use it as a resiliency center that would have been tied into solar and storage to have energy, even if all the power in downtown was out for some reason. There's other work that, all a part of that, to make it both a community center to service this whole section of town and also the resiliency center. But since we don't have the money to do that, it's holding until we can get money to do it.
So the plan is to continue with that plan and find funding for it, or?
If we can get the money for it, yes, because there is a need, as we've seen over a couple of prior winters. I think power went out, pipe froze, and water running through over here at Harbor Towers, and I believe we relocated people to several churches and other places, but we really don't have a dedicated place where we can help take care of people. I think we also experienced one year down here at River Terrace, did we not, Chief? We had a problem there. We had to relocate people.
Thank you.
Let's move that forward. Resolution number 4, resolution authorizing city managers to execute a contract with L.E. Barber for the Jennings and East Empire Sewer Improvements Project.
Okay, Jason, if you would, and give you more detail.
Yeah, real quick here, similar approach that we've had in multiple projects from before. This is our first round of the city's work that's a part of upgrading the sanitary sewer system with a Clean Water State Revolving Fund grant that the city had received for specific locations in the city that had recognized with sewers that needed, sanitary sewers that needed improvements. The bids were just received just prior to Thanksgiving. There were 4 bids that the city received. L.E. Barber was the low bid on their submitted bid. So this would be a resolution to consider to move forward with the award of that contract. Like I mentioned before, this work wouldn't start until March of next year. We do have a little bit of coordination to do. The 2 locations, there's a map in your packet, but the locations is 1 block on Empire between Bishop and Union. We will need to coordinate a little bit with the Project T development going on there. And then a extended block on Jennings between May and Cross Street. Those sewers are in need of repairs and replacement. So this is one of the first sewer projects, all-inclusive sewer projects that you guys will have moving forward if you decide to move forward with the award to L.E. Barber. L.E. Barber just recently completed the Pipestone project. They've done multiple projects in the city. This one is not as large as the Pipestone project, but it is 2 locations that are awarded for the one contract. There will be very similar other projects coming down the pipeline for next year that the city is working to prepare based on the grant funds that you guys received.
Thank you, Jason. This is in 3rd Ward, right? I think, right? 3rd Ward is greatly needed, Commissioner Henry.
And also, this is all using those CWSRF funds there at the very bottom middle. So those are already grant funds that the city received. And actually, there's a deadline on those grant funds, so they need to be exhausted by this time next year. So it is critical to get moving and get these awarded and moving so that you guys can make these repairs, make these projects, these upgrades, and get moving on with contractor.
It's the residents.
Yes, The sanitary sewer will be replaced in full. You know, we've talked many times before of the sanitary laterals. Those will be replaced to the sidewalk areas. New cleanouts will be put in there, so there's probably not very good access to a lot of the residents' laterals along those stretches. So in the future, you'll be able to jet those out, you know, your laterals out between the house and the main, if anything ever gets plugged up in the future. So major sewer upgrade through those areas.
No financial impact to the city.
There is none.
Thank you, Commissioner Henry. You get all that? You get that?
Yep, that's gonna be a good thing. Is there any jobs or training in that project as well? Just tell me no, so I know it's something that we need to fix.
There is not. Ellie Barbers, they are located on Napier Avenue, right next to the mall. They did have, I think, some Benton Harbor residents, maybe not many, but they did have some on the Pipestone project. I have not confirmed with them what they have moving forward for next year yet.
Okay. That was a good project, but I'm hearing the city manager talking about dumping. It's been an old problem that we just been going around and around about. I see that on the social media there is a trail camera that people are buying to look at what's going on in their backyard and everything else, and I can't figure out why we can't monitor these areas that are being dumped in. But I also want to ask about the icy intersection. In the first snow we had, people were sliding through the intersection because it was ice. I don't know why we got new road, but I know asphalt don't handle ice too well. So my question to you through the chair and city manager is why is these intersections only, well not, because I see spots also that have ice built up on, but our intersections was horrible. The whole winter it's been like that. People sliding like it was. Now, I know it's standing water, if we got standing water that's not going down, that would be some of it, but whoever, I
Good.
don't care, I don't know.
Go ahead.
I don't know who
You
you
want
gonna answer, but somebody need to answer that.
For one, the snow came down pretty hard, and there was a lot of water involved in the snow, and there was a lot of moisture, and it was pretty cold out there, and it got really cold fast. So, and it froze the streets up pretty fast. We can put much salt we can, sometimes salt don't work. We have to put sand down to help the traffic, to help slow it down. For one, a lot of people in our area drive too fast in the condition of the roads. Then, for one, and for another thing is that once it get packed, once the snow starts getting traveled on, it's hard to get that back up, especially if it get colder and colder, it get harder and harder. So we've been out there constantly putting salt down. They say we didn't have any salt, but I don't know where that comes from. We got plenty of salt. And we've been putting salt and sand down ever since the day, well, with the Christmas, Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
Since Thanksgiving Day, we've been running salt and sand down every day since. And that's the reason why it came so hard, because the snow came so fast and it froze so fast. And Ben Harbor streets was not the only streets in the shape of what was going on. We had all around community streets was in terrible shape too. So we was fighting to try to help the citizens get to work or get whatever they need to do, but you know how it is, trying to satisfy Ben
And that is part of the problem, is that we're having to try to deal with the conditions as they're coming. Right now, you've got a situation going on out there that's a perfect example. You had a day where it started off, it was raining, snow was melting, then it turned around and snowed on top of it, and then the temperature dropped. You've got ice right now. As soon as we leave out, we're gonna have to try to do something about putting some salt down. But it'll help, but it's not gonna solve the problem. When the temperatures go real low, like he said, salt only does good up to a point. But we'll keep doing the best we can to try to make it as safe as we can.
Well, the other thing is, if the intersection is flooded with water, what is the reason why that the intersections are flooded with water and freeze up? Is there a reason why that's happening?
I suspect right now it's because you've got ice and snow built up in front of the drains and so forth. Because when you go through and clean the streets, the stuff gets thrown over on the side, and you've got stuff blocking a lot of these.
Can the city do something about that? I mean, winter is nothing new to us. I was born and raised there in Michigan. So winter is nothing new to us. We might have had some global warming.
But we're getting a lot of different kind of snow. We're getting
I know.
It was raining this morning
Raining.
in December.
Oh. Yeah, I know it's bad,
It's
but
different than snow.
I'm asking, can we do something to help that problem?
Only thing to do is try to clean the drains out in front of clean the drains out, clean the front of the drains, try to break the ice up around them as we see them. But that's the only thing we can do, is to try to help the water go down, and try to break the ice up around them.
Well, if that works, it works for everybody. I mean, back in the day, they told us citizens not to touch the drains. Can we touch them now?
That's not my call.
I would say yes, if you're gonna break up the ice and snow in front of them. I mean, you
We're
can't.
not gonna get in trouble by doing that?
Well, you can't do any harm to remove ice and snow that's covering a drain. Yes, you can do it.
All right, that's all I want to hear. Did you hear that, citizens? Go out there and clean your drain out. You don't have to worry about water standing in it. Not gonna get in any trouble. Now, you heard them.
We'll even express appreciation to them for doing it.
Thank you so much. We're gonna move that forward. But I hope everybody got Commissioner Henry's message. Any public comments? Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.
I was
Okay,
going
City
to just add a comment. You know, we have so much stuff going on that a lot of it probably kind of goes unnoticed. I don't know if anybody knows what Miss Dig is or realizes. Throughout most of my history with the city here, we were never part of Miss Dig. I can remember years ago, if I needed to know where a water pipe or something was, I called Ed Ward and Ed Hudson, and they go out there and tell me. But we have joined Miss Dig, and it's connected with our water department, and it's functional now, where people can call when they're getting ready to, contractors or, and we go out and market for them as to where these things are. That's something that we've instituted this year and joined up with. A number of other things. If you're out around Union Park, although it's not totally finished, some finishing touches we're going to do in the spring, but you go up Hurd and down Emory, you'll notice that there's angular parking there. We've got it lined out and set up so that there'll be no excuse for people to be driving through the park on the grass and whatnot. We want them to park on those. We're steadily getting things done that, like I say, a lot of that smaller stuff don't necessarily get a lot of fanfare, nor does it need it, but it is happening.
Thank you so much, City Manager. All right, this meeting is adjourned.